Allah, Yahweh Shemel Shai. Yahweh Shemel Shai. Barakatah Yahweh Shai. Barakatah Yahweh. Barakatah Yahweh. Barakatah Yahweh Shai.
The wisdom is going to lead to the kingdom, which ultimately the kingdom is the government of Israel, the tabernacle of David. When you look up this word, keys that were given to thee, the keys of the kingdom. When you go to that word keys, that keys to the kingdom is the key of David, the tabernacle of David, the government, authority. But when you go to the word for keys, it says what? Kleis. It says, since the keeper of the keys has the power to open and shut, meaning the Lord is going to give us dominion, like he's going to give us judgment. And it says metaphorically in the New Testament to denote power and authority of various kinds. This wisdom is going to lead to us receiving the kingdom, which is authority above, the authority that the Most High Yahweh gave Yahweh Shai. We're going to have that authority, the 144, Lord willing, is that number. But it's authority of various kinds, authority over the resources, authority over the heathen, authority over, you can implement judgment. You're going to be able to create and manipulate the elements to create things. You're going to be a God on earth. Basically, that's the power that 144 is going to have. Not even all Israel is going to be on the level of the 144. But yeah, that key, that was given to Peter was the head of the church. We fall into that order. That's David. The tabernacle of David will receive all various kinds of power, and the gates of hell will not prevail, against us. But yeah, the key of David, see Revelation 1:18, I am him that liveth and was dead. He conquered death. He's the firstborn of the dead. First one of the sons of God. He is the son of God. He conquered death and went back to the right-hand side. Now we're seeking to conquer death and get our glory back. It says, I am he that liveth and was dead, and behold, I am alive evermore. Amen. I have the keys of hell and death, meaning judgment. Judgment is given into the hands of Yahweh Shai. And we're going to have that power. It says we're going to be able to create plagues on the earth. Like we're going to be a government. Like the government is the government of the whole earth. So the keys that were given unto Peter, which is the key of David, is authority. Power over the nations, everything, bro. So.
Yahweh Shemel Shai. Yahweh Shemel Shai. Barakatah Yahweh Shai. Barakatah Yahweh. Barakatah Yahweh. Barakatah Yahweh Shai.
All right. Shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem Rakakwadash, and double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples to his younger brothers. And peace and blessing salutations to the hopeful lake out there pushing his word and truth and in sincerity across the four winds in the name of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. All right, push and get up out of here. Shalom to the hopeful like the believers, the listeners whom have came back to the obedience of the scriptures through faith in Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. All right, and what we're going to get into this morning, our Ratazah, all right, is going into, all right, how this place is built to fall. All right, thus saith the Lord. Okay, everything, all right, that the so-called white man, all right, Esau, Edom has established, okay, in the earth, all right, was built to fall. Okay. And now we're coming into the time where we're seeing the symptoms, okay, of a collapsing empire. Okay. And Yahweh Shai is going to be sent back, all right, to expedite that, all right, to get this place on out of here. And this is why the prophets, have been raised up in these latter days to proclaim, okay, the fall of a wicked empire. okay, of Esau Edom. You see? So I think the brother got a good precept to start off with, then we'll get some more. Um and I got a video, that goes into it because one thing you can't get around, all right, is that this current kingdom is nothing but a revival of the Greco-Roman Empire, okay? And it's going to go out in the same fashion, except on a much larger scale. And Yahweh Shema Shai is going to showcase a lot of power taking this place out, okay? So let's get some precepts. I'm going to start off here with the brother got as well. Um, let's go. Let's get this in Malachi first. Cue that up. But yeah, let's get this one, brother. All right, the time of the end is near. you know, beautiful. It's beautiful. Even the name of the brother. Okay, channel. All right, the time of the end is near, and this the time when all signals point to the same thing. All right, this is Revelation 18:2. It says, and he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the great is fallen, and has become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and the cage of every unclean and hateful bird. Okay, because America's fall is going to be through nuclear destruction and fire from the chariots. Okay, which as a result is going to turn this place, all right, to a desert for desert creatures. Okay, but Babylon is set to fall. Everything that Esau Edom has built, okay, was set to fall. All right, and it was established that way from the beginning. Okay, so everything that this man is doing is in vain. All right, when you go to Malachi 1:4, said Esau descendants and Edom may say, okay, and who runs the earth? Esau's descendants. Okay, these are the biblical Edomites, the descendants of Esau that run this current world system, man. Okay, this government that rules the earth, all right, is ran by the descendants of Esau Edom. Okay, and it says we have been shattered, but we will rebuild the ruins. Okay, and what we're living in is the rebuilt ruins. Okay, of Greco-Rome. Okay, this is what he revived in the earth, the deadly wound. All right, the head that was wounded to death, that was revived back in the earth. Well, this is it. Okay, we're living in it. Okay, this is the part of prophecy we're living in. Okay, this man was allowed to rebuild his empire back in the earth. Okay, as America, NATO, and right in the EU. Okay, he said, but the Lord of heaven's armies replied, they may try to rebuild, but I will demolish them again. Okay, so everything that this man has established and built up in this kingdom, it's going to be demolished again. Okay, it's going to fall again. It was built to fall. Okay, so all this investment and money and time and the enchantments, because this nigga put a lot into this kingdom, man. Okay, this wicked nigga invested a lot, all right, into this wicked empire. Centuries of enchantments and propaganda, lies, and trillions of dollars, and probably even beyond trillions. Okay, that this man has invested into this empire. Okay, and now that he wants to go digital, that's why he's throwing everything at this AI. He's throwing everything at AI, man. Because the Most High has them deceived. Okay, through technology. Okay, he's going to extend his empire. Okay, but no, it's built to fall. Okay, it's established. This place was established just to fall. Okay, that's the hard truth. Okay, for you devils, you Edomites, man. It says, but the Lord of heaven armies replied, they may try to rebuild, but I will demolish them again. Their country will be known as the land of wickedness, and their people will be called the people whom the Lord is forever angry. Okay, and this is what people don't realize, is that the Heavenly Father, all right, the God of the Bible, okay, hates you Edomites, man. And is forever angry at you Edomites. Okay, and now what we're in the time is he's finna showcase that anger. All right, for the world to see. Okay. So as Esau is constantly pointing to his new world order ambitions, well, the Lord has his man set for fall. Okay. When you go here to the book of Psalms 1, all right, 21, and this is an NLT, 121 and 1, it says, unless the Lord builds a house, the work of the builders is wasted. Okay, so unless Yahweh Bashim Al Shai builds a house, the work of the builders is wasted. Unless the Lord protects a city, guarding it with sentries, all right, or soldiers, will do no good. Okay, so the work of Esau is just a waste of work. Everything that this man has established, his memorials and buildings named after him, and countries and states and continents named after this devil. Okay, the school curriculum and what he teaches, and he indoctrinates, and okay, his scientists and the research and all that is for nothing. Okay, all that was just built for him to fall, for the Lord to showcase his power. Okay, and there's nothing that this devil can do to reverse that. You see, let's go here. Get this Isaiah. Just get a couple precepts and then we'll segue to the video. All right. There's the brother has here. It's the brother Corner Waff, GMS prayer, I always hope for elect. And so Isaiah 47:7 says, and thou sayest, I shall be a lady forever, so that thou didst not lay these things to thy heart, neither did thou remember the latter end of it. All right, because Esau prides himself on knowing every goddamn thing. Just being this all-knowing nigga, and he's deep into his research, and he's thorough on how he searched things out. Okay, but you didn't consider this part, the latter end. Okay, you understand empires fall. Okay, you study ancient empires, their rise and their fall. Okay, you know. Okay, that there's a power that judges in the earth. Okay, this nigga knows things and sees things. Well, see, the Lord has him hardened. Okay, to where he's just been so occupied. Okay, in the right now. You see, he didn't think about the latter end. See, Esau, he's not built, okay, for this part. You see, I said he's not built to last. See, this is the part of prophecy where this devil is going to have problems. There was a time when prophecy was with this nigga. Everything he did was just working for him, man. He was just able to have his way out here. That's when prophecy was with him. Now prophecy is against this nigga, man, in the latter end. Okay, and he can't wiggle out of this one, man. You see, he just finna have to deal. Okay, so let's go to Isaiah the 10th chapter in verse 33. It says, but look, the Lord, all right, the Lord Yahweh Bashim Al Shai of heaven's armies will chop down the mighty tree of the Assyrian with great power. He will cut down the proud, all right, the lofty tree will be brought down, which America is likened unto Assyria. Okay, and just as the Lord cut down, the ancient Assyria empire, which it was a mighty empire, mighty military, mighty economy. Okay, this is what America has been known for is military and its economy. Well, this mighty tree, okay, finna be brought down. Okay, this lofty tree, okay, it is built just to be destroyed. Okay, and this man has been planted, he was planted firmly in the earth. Okay, his wickedness, was able to spread. Okay, but now we're in the time of rooting up. That's why the Lord has sent the prophets to root up. Okay, and the thing that's being rooted up is this wicked kingdom. Okay, prophecy is removing this man from power. It's speaking. Okay, the end of this devil. Let's go here in Jeremiah. Okay, it's the book of Jeremiah, chapter 1. Okay, and 10. Well, I started at 9. All right. It said, Jeremiah 1:9. Then the Lord reached out and touched my mouth and said, look, I have put my words in your mouth. Okay, so we have the words of Yahweh Bashim Al Shai, and through these words, this man's kingdom is being uprooted. Okay, it's through the words of Yahweh Bashim Al Shai, through the prophets. We're vessels. It's the Lord's words that's flowing through us, man. Okay, that's uprooting this man. You see, because as we speak, all right, this place collapsed. But on the flip side, what the house of David is being built. Okay, while the house of Esau is being torn down. Okay. Jeremiah 1:10 said, today I appoint you to stand against nations and kingdoms. Some of you must uproot and tear. All right. Some you must uproot and tear down. Okay. And this kingdom of Esau is being uprooted and torn down, beginning in the spirit. Okay. Through the prophets. Okay. Destroy and overthrow. Okay. So what we're speaking on is we speak the words of Yahweh Bashim Al Shai. This kingdom is being uprooted. It's being torn down. And Yahweh Shai is coming to destroy and overthrow. Okay? But it says others, okay, you must build up and plant. And this is the elect, which make up the house of David, this spiritual house. Okay, so we're in the transition, man. So the prophets through the spirit and power, Yahweh Bashim Al Shai, okay, have been assigned to uproot and tear down, okay, this current wicked kingdom, through teaching prophecy, man, speaking prophecy. Okay. And on the flip side, to what? To build and plant a righteous kingdom. Okay. Through the same prophecies, man. You see? That's the duality, okay, of the scriptures, man. So let's go here to Psalms and then we'll segue to the video. But let's Psalms 37 and I think it's 30. Matter of fact, I started I'm gonna read down on that. So I'm gonna say that for the I'm gonna go ahead and get the video. I want to read down on that. So let's go here. Let this play for the most part, and then this has been the theme of 2025. Like everybody's comparing this place to Rome and the collapse. Everybody's talking about the economy. You just see the videos here. Mass bankruptcy, sweet economy, the truth about, against Nigeria, the global transition. Okay, Americans are skipping Christmas, just looking at the headline. All right, Richard Wolff, he's gonna go in. I gotta watch some of this stuff today, see what we got. But this is just the thing. 7 stages collapse pattern took down empires. This is the thing. 2025, this is okay, how empires fall and why the US is next. You see, this just been the thing. Okay, Rome fell in 3 days, France in 6 weeks. Okay, and what they linking it to? America. All right. The petrodollar collapse has begun. Okay, The US dollar is next. Okay. It says why everyone thinks the US economy is about to crash. Okay. Why the 2026 crash will destroy more wealth than 1929. Okay. It's a lot, man. But this just been the theme, okay, uh of 2025. You know, prepare for impact. Okay, the 2025 crash will be worse than 1929. Yeah, man, it just okay. Then you got Genesis, you got these niggas. Genesis, Israelite, them niggas in the mix. All right, perfect timing with what these niggas is on. Okay, so yeah, man, it's just been the theme. Okay, for 2025, man, everybody been making their comparison. Studying the fall of empires and comparing, what they see in America. That's just been the thing. All right, because this is where we at. Hey, this place is being all right uprooted. Okay, so let's play this. Oh, where we at? Hold on.
Everyone knows Rome fell, but what most people don't know is why. And if you understood the real reasons, the actual mechanisms that destroyed the greatest empire in human history, you'd see them playing out right now in America. Same patterns, same arrogance, same ending. In the 5th century, Romans believed their empire was eternal. They had the strongest military, the reserve currency of the known world, and technologies that seemed almost magical. Their citizens were comfortable, entertained, and completely convinced that collapse was impossible, until the day it wasn't. If you've noticed prices rising faster than your salary, if you've wondered why America spends more on military than the next 10 countries combined, or if you've ever felt like you're being distracted from something important, you're not paranoid. You're watching history repeat itself in real time. Before we dive deeper, tell me in the comments, where are you watching from? And what's one thing about the economy that keeps you up at night? I read every comment, and your perspective matters. And if you want to understand where this is all heading, hit subscribe, because this story will change how you see every news headline from this point forward. Rome didn't fall because of barbarians. That was the final symptom, not the cause. The empire hollowed itself out from within through 3 specific mechanisms, and America is following the same playbook. First, currency debasement. Rome systematically destroyed the value of its money, turning gold and silver coins into worthless metal. Sound familiar? Second, military overextension. Rome stretched its legions across 3 continents, bleeding resources to maintain an empire it could no longer afford. Check America's military budget lately? Third, bread and circuses. Rome kept its citizens docile with free grain and endless entertainment while the system crumbled around them. Today, it's stimulus checks and social media. These aren't vague similarities. They're precise parallels. And once you see them, you can't unsee them. Let's start with money, because this is where every collapse begins. In 64 AD, under Emperor Nero, the Roman denarius was nearly pure silver. It was trusted across the empire and beyond. Merchants from Britain to Egypt accepted it without question. That coin was a promise, a store of value, a foundation of trust. But Rome had a problem. Endless wars, massive infrastructure projects, a growing welfare state, and not enough revenue to pay for it all. So they did what governments always do when they run out of money. They cheated. They started shaving silver from the coins, mixing in copper and bronze. At first, just a little, then more, then more. By the year 200 AD, the denarius was less than 50% silver. By 265 AD, it was barely 5%. The coin looked the same. The stamp of the emperor was still there. But the value? Gone. And what happened? Prices exploded. What used to cost 1 denarius now cost 10, then 100, then 1,000. Merchants stopped accepting them. Soldiers refused to be paid in worthless metal. Trade collapsed. The economy seized up. This wasn't just inflation. This was the destruction of trust itself. Now let's talk about America. In 1971, President Nixon did something that doesn't get talked about enough. He closed the gold window, ended the promise that dollars could be exchanged for gold. Since then, the dollar has been backed by nothing but trust. And how has America used that freedom? Since 1971, the dollar has lost over 85% of its purchasing power. The money supply has exploded. In 2020 alone, the US printed 40% of all dollars ever created. 40% in 1 year. The denarius took 2 centuries to collapse. The dollar is sprinting toward the same end in decades. Your grandparents could buy a house on a single income. A car cost a few $1,000s. College was affordable. Rome debased its currency slowly. America is doing it with a printing press on overdrive. The mechanisms are different. The result is the same. Rome, at its peak, controlled the Mediterranean, Western Europe, North Africa, and the Middle East. Legions were stationed from Scotland to Syria. Everywhere Rome conquered, it had to garrison. And garrisons cost money, lots of it. By the 3rd century, military spending consumed more than half of Rome's budget. Soldiers demanded higher pay. Fortifications needed constant repair. And every new threat, from Persia to Germanic tribes, required more troops. The empire was trapped. Pull back and lose territory. Stay committed and bleed resources. So Rome did what desperate empires do. It raised taxes, squeezed provinces, confiscated wealth. And still, it wasn't enough. The borders became indefensible, not because Rome lacked brave soldiers, but because it lacked the wealth to sustain them. Now, look at America's defense budget. In 2024, it's over $850 billion. That's more than China, Russia, India, the UK, Saudi Arabia, Germany, France, Japan, and South Korea combined. America has about 750 military bases in 80 countries. Troops in Syria, Iraq, Afghanistan, Africa, Europe, Asia, everywhere. And the cost? It's not just the budget, it's the opportunity cost. That $850 billion could rebuild infrastructure, fund education, reduce debt. Instead, it maintains an empire that, like Rome, is increasingly difficult to defend and impossible to afford. During the Cold War, the Soviet Union collapsed under military spending it couldn't sustain. America watched it happen, learned nothing, and repeated the mistake. Rome's legions were the finest fighting force in history, but even the best soldiers can't prop up an economic system that's bankrupt. America's military is unmatched, but when the economy that funds it collapses, the bases close, the ships are mothballed, and the empire contracts. History doesn't care about exceptionalism. Juvenal wrote about a population that had bred in circuses, he called it, and it worked. As long as Romans had food and games, they didn't ask questions. They didn't protest. They didn't demand accountability. The government provided free or subsidized grain to hundreds of thousands of citizens. The Colosseum hosted spectacles, gladiators, executions, mock naval battles, and Rome's elite loved it because a distracted population is a controllable population. Fast forward to today. America doesn't have gladiators. It has Netflix, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. The average American spends over 7 hours a day on screens, not working, not creating, just consuming, scrolling, numbing. And when economic anxiety spikes, what does the government do? Stimulus checks. In 2020 and 2021, trillions of dollars were handed out, not to fix the economy, but to keep people quiet, to delay the reckoning. It's the same playbook, bread and circuses, direct deposits and dopamine hits. Think about it. When was the last time you saw mass protests about monetary policy, about the Federal Reserve printing money, about debt exceeding $34 trillion? You don't, because people are too busy watching the circus of political theater, celebrity scandals, viral trends. The algorithm feeds you outrage, not understanding. Reaction, not reflection. Rome's citizens were given just enough comfort to surrender their power. America's citizens are given just enough distraction to ignore theirs. Here's the part that should terrify you. Rome's collapse wasn't sudden, it was gradual, a slow decay that took generations. And at every stage, Romans believed they were different, that they were exceptional, that the old rules didn't apply to them. They believed their currency would always be trusted, until merchants refused it. They believed their military would always protect them, until the borders collapsed. They believed their people would stay loyal, until they stopped caring. And by the time they realized what was happening, it was too late. The mechanisms of collapse were already irreversible. America is in the same denial. We're told the dollar is strong, that military spending ensures security, that technology and innovation make us immune to history, but none of that addresses the fundamentals. The US dollar is the global reserve currency, but for how long? Countries are already trading in yuan, rubles, and even cryptocurrencies to avoid dollar dependence. The privilege of printing the world's money only lasts as long as the world trusts you, and trust, once lost, doesn't come back. Military power doesn't prevent collapse. Rome had the greatest military in history. The Soviet Union had nuclear weapons. Britain ruled a quarter of the globe. All of them fell when the economics underneath crumbled. And distraction doesn't create stability. It creates ignorance. A population entertained into submission doesn't suddenly wake up and fix the system. They wake up when it's already gone. The timelines are compressing. What took Rome centuries is happening to America in decades. Information moves faster. Money moves faster. Collapse, when it comes, will move faster too. So what happens next? If the pattern holds, if history is any guide, the answer is clear. Empires that debase their currency, overextend their military, and pacify their populations with bread and circuses don't reform. They collapse. But here's the uncomfortable truth. You can't stop it. The mechanisms are already in motion. Debt is too high. The money supply is too inflated. The military commitments are too vast. The distractions are too powerful. What you can do is protect yourself. Because when systems fail, individuals who saw it coming survive. History rewards the prepared and punishes the faithful. Rome's citizens who held real assets, land, gold, goods, survived the collapse. Those who
Yeah, so there's only one way to survive this, man. Okay, and I'll put this in the comment. Okay, put this video in the chat in case a brother wanna touch down on it. But yeah, it's only one way to survive this, and that's to be of the elect. You see, you're not of the elect, all right, having actual assets. Okay. And see, this is where everybody goes left when it comes to the end game. All right. And what we understand that the Lord is destroying an empire, he's uprooting an empire, and it's transitioning to the empire of Israel, the dynasty of Israel. You see, that's the part that see, that's where the prophets come in at, and they can tell you about, they give you a parallel with the collapse of Rome and the collapse of America, because it's the same people. Okay, the same people. Esau got the same ambitions. He's known for overreaching. Okay, doing too much. Okay, he always wants to be more grand. Okay, than he is. Okay, and he destroys himself every time. Okay, you can give Esau, all right, a kingdom 1,000,000 times, and it will end the same. All right, corruption, greed. Okay, degeneracy. All right, debt, war, collapse. Okay, so this devil, you can give this man an empire, you give these people an empire, okay, 1,000,000 times, and it will fall the same way 1,000,000 times. Okay, and people are just distracted in the midst of this fall. Okay, you go to the 2nd Ezra 16:21 said, "Behold, victuals shall be so good cheap upon earth, that they shall think themselves to be in good case. And even then shall evils grow upon the earth, sword, famine, and great confusion." Okay, so as people, are enjoying, especially if they send out, those what they call tariff dividend checks, whatever it's something new every, what they call a stimulus check, a dividend check, or, whatever it is, a rebate check. Okay, there's just going to be a false sense of security. So just as bread and circus of ancient Rome kept people entertained, even during this collapse. Okay, it's the same thing at this time. People, as long as people have their internet and, their victuals, they're able to get their daily vices and their daily fix. Okay, the nightlife and, particular things they're able to enjoy, the cheap convenience, okay, of the empire. They think themselves to be in a good case. But meanwhile, what evils said, then shall evils grow. So let it's gradually happening. People are gradually being priced out of affording life. Okay, things are gradually going into civil unrest. Okay, famine is gradually becoming a thing. Okay, and it's just going, and people are just going to be more and more confused as these things settle into the earth, man. Okay, but this devil, he's at the end. Okay, we're at the end okay, of empire. All right, and he can't keep kicking, okay, this can down the road. Okay, he gonna have to deal. The Lord got him in a situation with this devil. He's gonna have to deal. Okay, so let's go here. Get some more precepts. Let's go to book of Psalm. All right, this the book of Psalm. Well, matter of fact, before we get there, let's get this, because I want to end with that. Read down on it. Avaratazah. But let's go here to the book of Habakkuk. All right. You can't build an empire on corruption, man. And then what the devil, he attempts to do time and time again. Okay, to build an empire on corruption. Okay, rebellion and righteousness. Okay, let's go here. Habakkuk 2:12, it said, "What sorrow awaits you, all right, who builded cities with money gained through murder and corruption." Okay, this is the NLT, Habakkuk 2:12. What sorrow, what destruction awaits you who build cities with money gained through murder and corruption, man. So this is, this empire has blood on his hands. Okay, it was based on corruption. It was founded on corruption. Okay, and wickedness, man. Okay, and no empire that's built like that is built to to stand. You see? Let's go here. Let's go to what's that in? Let's see. Yeah, let's go to Nahum. Yep. Or Nahum 3. Okay. Let's go back to the KJV for a minute. So let's go Nahum 3:1. All right. It says, "Woe, okay, to the bloody city, destruction to the bloody city. It is full of lies and robbery. The prey departeth not." Okay. So this man's empire is built on what? Because the scriptures say what? He will be loosed. And what will he do? He will go and deceive, okay, within the four quarters of the earth. Okay, so this man's empire is built on deception. I'll say blood, lies, robbery. Okay, this is how this man built the empire, man. Okay, everything is rooted into some corruption. Okay, and there's a destruction for that, showing you that he was built to fall. The way that this man built this empire was built to fall. Okay, because we serve a righteous power that judges in the earth. Okay, that's why even when you go here, Psalms 58, see, our power is getting ready to judge in the earth, man, in a major way. You see, and people have, under is Psalm 50. Oh yeah, yep. This Psalms 58:10 said, "The righteous shall rejoice when he seeth the vengeance. He shall wash his feet in the blood of the wicked." And there's just victory over, all right, our enemies, man, Esau. All right, because in the ancient world, when you would be victorious in battle, your feet will actually be in the blood of your enemies. Okay, you out there on the battlefield and you get the ups where your feet, you're walking around the battlefield where your feet will be actually in the blood of your enemy. All right. So this is this is symbolic for what? A victory over the wicked, man. Okay, a defeat. And so we're going to rejoice when we see it, the Lord's vengeance on this devil, man. Okay, verse 11, "So that a man shall say, verily there is a reward for the righteous. Verily he is a power that judgeth in the earth." You see? And Esau was guilty, man. Okay, that's why this ministry has been like a courtroom setting. Okay, to where we're just constantly bringing this man's charges on him. Okay, constantly going into his records. You see, and bringing out all these charges against this devil, man. And there's so much wickedness that we don't know this devil has done. Okay, that he's finna be judged for, man. We have a power that judges in the earth. Okay, in the world, you see Esau through his enchantments, and okay, the world has forgotten that concept that there's a higher power that you see people's mind don't even think on that. You know, they don't even reason. You know, like that, man. Okay, like I said, their mind is on folly, celebrity gossip, and entertainment. Okay, their vices, lust. You saw that their mind is not geared towards. Okay, there's a higher power that judges in the earth. Okay, and that's why the scriptures speak about it's going to be like a thief in the night. Because people not expecting this great judgment. People are not expecting this great fall of an empire. Okay, but this place was established in wickedness, man. Okay, and it's getting ready to be judged for that. Even when you go to is it Numbers 30, either 35 and 33? Let me see. This is yep, Numbers 35 and 33 says, "So ye shall not pollute the land wherein you are, for blood it defileth the land." Okay, and what did the scripture say about the whore in Revelation 17 when she was drunken with the blood of the saints? Okay, America has been, is guilty of the slaughtering of Israelites, man. Okay, on the level of genocide, man. Okay, what was done to the southern kingdom, the Middle Passage itself. Okay, the slaughter and atrocity of the Middle Passage. Okay, was we'll never, all right, on this side. Okay, you'll never know the numbers and the brutality of it. You see, but but this devil's gonna be judged, man. All right, what he did to, all right, the tribes that was already here, North, Central, South America. Okay, the Incas, the Aztecs, the Tainos, the Mayans. All right, Gad, Reuben. Okay, the islands. You see, Benjamin. All right, Levi, Simeon on the islands. Okay, this man has a lot of blood on his hands, man. He's responsible for mass slaughter. Okay, and the Lord was gonna require that, man. This nigga, he did too much. We was giving it to his hand for our punishment, but he went too far. Okay, it says, "So ye shall not pollute the land wherein you are, for blood it defileth the land, and the land cannot be cleansed of the blood that is shed therein, but by the blood of him that shed it." Okay, there's a lot of blood. Okay, Esau has shed, man. Especially under the banner of the American government. You see, and this is why. Matter of fact, let's just get it in Revelation. Just rolling in the spirit. Revelation 17. Okay. Revelation 17 and 6. Okay. It says, "And I saw the woman," okay, which is the whore, and ride the beast. Okay. Drunken. Matter of fact, let's read verse 5. It says, "And upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery Babylon the Great." Okay, and the mystery has been revealed to the prophets, man, to break this place down. Okay, hey, the prophets, one a vital part of the ministry. Okay, is explaining America in the Bible. Okay, because it's the place of great judgment. It's the place of the second Exodus. Okay, where the remnant is going to be a remnant delivered. There's a 2/3 here that's set for destruction. So scrapulating America from biblical prophecy, okay, is a vital part of the ministry, man. Okay, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. And I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the saints and with the blood of the martyrs of Yahushua. And when I saw her, I wondered with great admiration, showing you that, America, because John is seeing the actual woman, and he wondered with great admiration, and it shows you how appealing America has been, you know, to the tribes, man, even though it's a place where we've been slaughtered. Okay, it's been appealing to the tribes. Okay, but there's a remnant, okay, whom the Lord has awakened to snap out of their admiration for this place, man. And begin to cry out for judgment against this place. Because you go into this word drunken, okay? You go into this word drunken in the Greek.
Strong's G 3184, methuo.
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 All right, to be drunken. All right, said metaphorically of one who has shed blood or murdered profusely. Okay, of one who has shed blood or murdered profusely, man. Okay, and this how this place was established, and people are thinking that there's some type of economic fix to this place, let's redo democracy. Let's make some tweaks to democracy. We can get it back. Nah, man, this place is built to fall. There's a lot of wickedness that's unpaid for. That's why the scriptures go into Babylon being wanting. Okay, which means that there's a tab of wickedness that's unpaid. Okay, you can't pay that off with a dollar amount. Okay, the Lord requires a judgment. Remember, the only thing that can pay that tab off is blood. You see, reparations. That's why I say reparations. It goes way beyond money. Okay, and that's why Yahushua, he's coming to establish true reparations, man. Okay, let's go here. Revelation 19:2. And it says, for true and righteous are his judgments, for he have judged a great whore, which did corrupt the earth for her fornication, and have avenged the blood of his servants at her hand. You see that? So no, man, there's vengeance. Okay, this had to be executed. You see, all this was established. You see, these things are written before America even became a nation. So it was built to fall. It was built just to be judged. Okay, the great whore, all right, became an empire to be judged, man. Okay, and she's done everything, all right, because this before America corrupted the earth. This is written. So America, all right, became an empire, this great whore, and she corrupted the earth. So now we're in a part of vengeance, man. She slaughtered Israelites, man. Okay, and even going to be guilty of beheading the martyrs. I mean, the believers of Yahushua, certain believers. There's certain believers that's prophesied to be beheaded for Yahushua. Okay, and Yahushua is going to come avenge their death. He's going to come resurrect. All right, those that died in his name. They're going to be resurrected and raised to immortality and honored forever. Okay? And he's going to come avenge them, okay, with war. You see? So let's go here. Now we can go to Psalms 37. All right. So there's nothing, that can be done. There's no alternate endings. All right. It only ends one way. Okay. This is Psalms 37. Okay. I started at 32. It said the wicked watcheth the righteous and seeketh to slay him. Because Esau wants to end this message. Okay. And this is a kingdom that's anti-righteous, man. So as the Lord has revived righteousness through the ministry, okay, this man is being called out, man. He's plotting. Okay. But even that's a trick bag for this devil, man. It said the Lord would not leave him, all right, would not leave him in his hand, nor condemn him, all right, when he is judged, man. The Lord is not going to allow this man to have his way. Okay, even, the believers that have to be martyrs, man, the Lord going to give, all right, the spirit we need for whatever lot we got. If we are the elect, the Lord going to put a spirit on us to deal with whatever circumstance we're going to be in. We got to believe that, man. And, we can't be timid. This flesh, get timid and, but no, we got to have faith and know that he is. Okay. It said, wait on the Lord, Yahweh Shema Shai, and keep his way, and he shall exalt thee to inherit the land. When the wicked are cut off, thou shalt see it, man. So we're finna be promoted in the earth, man. And we're going to see this devil collapse, man. We're seeing it now. We're being promoted now. It's a thing of gradual. Okay. What they call gradualism. Okay. And how Shai comes, he's just going to, establish these things with power. Okay. He's going to complete us, man. Okay. He's going to perfect us. Okay. And then he's going to completely remove all power from these devils, man. Okay. And these other heathens. Okay. It says, I have seen the wicked in great power and spreading himself like a green bay tree, man. And that's what this devil has been allowed to do. He's been able to, all right, be planted, okay, and rooted in his rulership. But now what? He's being uprooted, as we spoke about in Jeremiah. Okay. It said, yet he passed away, and lo, he was not. I sought him, but could not be found, man. And Yahweh Shai is going to completely uproot this man for all authority on the earth, man. It's going to be like he was never in power. Okay. You see, it's going to be like this man never had authority in the earth, man. You see, verse 36, yet he passed away, and lo, he was not. Yeah, I sought him, but he could not be found. Mark the perfect man, and behold the upright, for the end of that man is peace. Okay, and you can read this and go to the NLT. And the perfect men, okay, are the sincere prophets. Okay, the humble service of Yahweh Bashim Shai. Starting with our apostle and elders of GMS, there's no doubt. So we mark those men, okay, that are standing for righteousness and truth and sincerity and humility. Okay, and because the end of that man it says it's peace. Okay, and you read this in NLT, Psalm 37:37 says, look at those who are honest and good, for a wonderful future awaits those who love peace. And there's the thing about the wisdom of Yahweh Shema Shai, man, it promotes peace. See, this devil is in the way of peace. As we went into how it was given him, we always go into how he was given the authority to take peace from the earth. Okay, and the enemy of peace is Esau Edom. Okay, that's why he's an enemy of the gospel. The good part of the good news is this devil is removed from power. He's judged. Okay, verse 38. But the rebellious, all right, will be destroyed. They have no future, man. This rebellion is finna be put down. Esau has no future outside of captivity and then extermination. Okay, there's no throne for him, as the scriptures say. His place in heaven shall not be found anymore. Okay, he has no future, all right, of rulership. Okay, he's in his last days, man. Literally last days. Okay, it said the Lord rescues the godly. He is their fortress in time of trouble. The Lord helps them, rescuing them from the wicked. All right, He saves them. All right, and they find shelter in Him. You know, so we're going to be protected in this transition of power. Okay, this place is falling and collapsing. You know, because we know, all right, this ministry makes us a target. Okay, in this wicked empire. Okay, but the Lord already has provisions set up, man. We're going to be provided for. We're going to be protected and given power, you know, when needed. Okay, so yeah, that's the point. You know, just wanted to touch into that. You know, touch on that. You know, Lord will. You know, you brothers, all right, and you sisters edified once again. I want to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakadash, and double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples towards younger brothers, and peace and blessings, salutations to the whole elect Shalom.